Hey everybody, Dan Warby with Keller Williams, West Ventura County here. Hope everyone's doing great. The market is cooling off just a bit, but we're still seeing buyers looking for any edge over the competition. And one of the things that we're seeing a lot of is what we like to call buyer love letters. Basically, a buyer love letter is when the buyers of a property write a personal appeal to the seller and explain why why they love the property and why their offer should be chosen over all the other offers. I've always thought this is a terrible idea for several reasons. Firstly, unless you are very familiar and friendly with the seller, you have no idea how your message is going to be received. You may detail tons of things that you feel, the seller would be really receptive to, only to find out that you've stepped on some hidden psychological landmine and greatly offended them. The media landscape we're all seemingly steeped in 24/7 is super polarizing, and revealing a ton of personal information in a letter is as likely to put the seller off of you as it is to endear them to you. Second, they're just not that effective in the best of circumstances, even if the seller really resonates with what you've written and would really genuinely like to help you out. The amounts of money that we're talking about here really make that a moot point. The average home price in Ventura County is almost $763,000. The average household income in Ventura County is $88,000. So if you're an average buyer writing a letter to an average seller, and your offer is just 2% under the highest offer, you're basically asking the seller to leave 17% of their annual income on the table in a transaction. That's a lot to expect from a letter. And I know you might be thinking, it might get me the house, and if it doesn't, then all it's cost me is the time it took to write the letter. Maybe not though. It might end up costing you a property that you might have otherwise gotten. Which brings me to my biggest gripe with buyer love letters, and that's that they're a fair housing minefield. It's illegal to discriminate based on sex, race, religion, color, and national origin, and family status. And it's surprisingly difficult to write a letter that doesn't reveal or insinuate any of that information. Once that's been revealed to the seller, it increases, the exposure, or at least the perceived exposure of the seller to fair housing lawsuits. There's a reason that 92% of home sales in the US are agent assisted in the first place. People put a high value on maintaining that arm's length transaction for a number of reasons, but an important one is limiting their exposure to liability. So to recap here, in case you haven't guessed by now, I'm not a tremendous fan of buyer love letters, but there are a ton of other ways to set your offer apart from the competition. They just take a little know-how and a little understanding of what tweaks you can make in your residential purchase offer that could edge out the competition without necessarily just increasing the purchase price to the moon. Well, that's it for this week. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have an awesome rest of your week, everybody.